Hello everyone, this is Galera speaking, lead developer for the project Vampire the Masquerade Redemption Reawakened, here to give you an annual update on the project. As per usual, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for following and supporting the development of this project in whatever capacity. It has been over 3 years, and in all this time we've seen the love for this project only grow, and we are even more motivated to not disappoint and fail that love. Normally, I would begin this report with organizational matters. However, there has been a saddening and critical legal development for this project. Therefore, I must address this part first. After 3 years trying and over 8 months of communication stretching from Christmas 2023 till July of this year, we finally managed to properly communicate with Activision and received a final stance of the company on our project. Christmas communication resulted in a straight refusal, but we received critical legal information as to what IP Activision does and doesn't own of the game we tried to remake. We were asked to reapply in May, but by that time Microsoft had finalized their merger with Activision, and our contact was laid off along with 1,000 other employees. This complication prolonged communication by over 2.5 months. In late July, we finally contacted the Director of Business Development at Activision, who gave us a simple refusal without any further communications or elaborations. This concluded our communications with Activision and essentially puts an end to Vampire the Masquerade Redemption Reawakened. Welcome to Vampire the Masquerade Reawakened, a canonical reinterpretation of the events of Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, exploring only Paradox-owned canonical literary content and events, with a hefty amount of custom and fan-decided materials. For the record, to preempt any speculative rumors, we were not shut down, nor issued a cease and desist order. The plan now is to remove every custom and non-canonical element of Redemption and replace it with either equivalent custom content or new material entirely. The percentage and level of reconstructing will be yours to decide. At the end of this video, I will explain the idea of the grand vote. You will have the chance to decide one of the 4 directions this project will go. Our intentions have already been sent to Paradox as an informal announcement and plea for informing us if there are any changes Paradox wishes us to make for the safe continuation of our work. Let me underline this. We refuse to make this project under the radar behind their respective IP owners' backs without communication or consultation, or at least without exhausting any means of doing so. Let's start with just how many people are actually supporting us. We hover close to 3,500 members on Discord, 1,500 members on Twitter, X, 8,000 subscribers on YouTube, and Kane only knows how many more are out there. We began a new policy of member role cleanups. In all those 3 years, we've accumulated many members who, for whatever reason, did not or could not cooperate to provide any help and cannot do so currently. Respectively, there are many members who joined with a specific purpose of being a playtester. Playtesters are currently closed until further notice, as we've decided to rely on a small list of old members. We still acknowledge each and every playtester application, as there will be a day for a beta testing where they will receive early access. We decided to open up to the public more with the use of public opinion polls. We encourage every Discord user to participate and provide us with their opinion in these simple questionnaires. One can always propose new polls for decision making, and if they are deemed useful, they will be published. These opinion polls will have an impact on the development of the project. We were joined recently by user Boltis and his very special helper, who have now taken on an active role in organizing social media publications. We now have a new Facebook group for the project and with the possibility of expanding to new social media such as TikTok. This means there will be more reports on the tiny details of development, however with a limitation. As we've decided to reinterpret the original game, this means we must produce new content. This creates a conflict of interest. We are a public project that doesn't want to hide anything, but we can't show you spoilers at the same time. This means we now enter the area of spoiler-limited publications, where once Discord users could see everything we do, special news subchannels will only be visible to role members. Publications will be limited to generalized content, technology, and content subject to being remade. Now for the bulk of this project's report. What have we actually completed in all this time, starting with the UI and menus? Now we have more 2D artists and we've implemented a custom new start menu and can potentially redesign the UI systems to a unified and standardized graphical quality. We've decided to scrap the Vampire Revised font and replace it with Flesh and Blood font for ease of use and text compression. With that same technology, we are now also able to visualize more content. More on that in the mechanics. We have implemented aggravated damage as a new counter bar you might be familiar from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1. It now functions both as a brand new mechanic in of its own and is part of a new UI system implemented. Let me start by saying that the entire soundtrack for this specific development report video, including the track in the background right now, was either composed for us specifically or donated to us by the various musicians who joined us recently or have been hard at work to make new pieces. We were joined by several new members who donated entire albums and playlists of private creations. We received completely new tracks from several veteran members, as we are slowly but surely replacing royalty-free online acquired music with our own custom soundtrack. The current roster was recently augmented by completely remade melodies of Prague daytime and nighttime themes. With new members came new possibilities, as we received a substantial amount of architectural resources ready for cut-up and processing. We also received a decent injection of model assets. Several Nexus users decided to give global permissions and even commit more work to provide special content for us. New members are working on smaller projects such as the construction of new enemy creatures. They also study how to reskin certain body elements, which will result in us having custom higher polygon faces for each individual character. 2D artists began working on creating new publication menu or general artwork materials. We have received contact and cooperation from one of the original 2D artists from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1. Improvements in mechanics were monumental this year, as we have now currently finished doing templates for every single one of them. In the previous development reports, we've shown implementation of those mechanics, then how we refined them to a higher level of quality. Now we will focus on making them as canonical as possible while being fun at the same time. This year, we've managed to construct both custom animated cutscenes as well as animated dialogues, which is a milestone compared to the original Skyrim.
Right. Canst thou, you take us to the downtown? Happy?
Greetings, Sir Hank.
Would you look at that? The bloodsuckers came back.
We wish to see your wares.
So you want to see my merchandise? You have a look.
Now, is all my reason thrown down? Surely my sleep has made me mad. For if I am yet sane, and the world has become a lunatic asylum. Towers of glass loom over the tallest cathedral spire. Juggernauts of steel huddle through the streets of London. The cobbled Roman roads, which I once walked as a young crusader, are now fused into a single ribbon of black stone. And those roads are clogged with the night-walking Londoners, heedless of the dangers from the vampires among them. They so emboldened by the phantom torches which pierced the night and stabbed my eye. Surely, my world has died, and all I love lies buried with me.
These dialogues are now supplemented with new widget mechanics for boons and the possibility of other stats visible in dialogue. We've improved poison and disease mechanics, but their appearance will now be vastly limited due to canonical rules. We've implemented NPC Coterie members and Coterie-related mechanics. After playtesting, we've determined we can support the classic 4-individual Coterie without issues. The Coterie can now be controlled via stance abilities and can be recruited or dismissed at leisure. The original game gave you little choice about the party members, but if you want to play solo or with only part of the squad, then so you can. Weapons have seen a canonical improvement with regard to stat limitations, both for the player and Coterie. Now, not having the strength or dexterity to wield it will only mean your weapon will be very slow to operate. The Coterie upgrade system has been implemented, or at least its template, which will be built out to encompass NPC discipline options. The Ankh pedestal, so famously present in the original game, now serves that purpose. It can be used to improve Coterie members' stats, but also unlock disciplines for their combat randomizer. Speaking of which, we have improved combat AI for both our Coterie members and enemies with the use of Combat Randomizer. This new mechanic allows NPCs to randomly change tactics, use various different disciplines, and even bite us back in different situations. Coterie members will now have 5 innate vampiric disciplines to use and 5 more discipline slots you can customize. Each Coterie will have clan-specific disciplines to unlock. dialogues now make boon trading available. Without going into a whole roster of boon types, we have taken into consideration the separation of minor and major boons as per canon. More weighty obligations will be dictated by the story and player choices. We added blood dolls and coercible individuals available for feeding. You may be able to purchase blood dolls for boons or drink within havens or elysiums. This development is not without cause, as we implemented feeding accident system. Now it's not as simple as just walking around the street drinking from a passerby in privacy. We now account for 3 things that may happen in these cases. Number 1. You may not know if your victim is anemic, and small blood loss may kill them. Thus, you have a 5% chance they will lose too much health on feeding. Number 2. Your victim may be carrying a dangerous disease. Not for you, of course, that's not a problem, but you now may have a 5% chance to carry their disease to another victim, possibly killing them. And number 3, we take into account that those windows you see in the background aren't just static models, but there may be someone watching. You now have a 5% chance to have an accidental witness and still suffer a tradition or masquerade violation, regardless whether you are alone with your victim. All things considered, the sheer list of various canonical mechanics within this mod makes your unlife as a vampire quite a challenge in of itself. Therefore, we are considering setting up difficulty levels in this project not based on how bullet spongy the enemies are or how hard they are to hit, but instead how many canonical TTRPG mechanics are you willing to suffer through. As for the items and playable objects, we've made some substantial decisions related to historical accuracy and canon. All medieval armors are now reduced to a historically accurate roster to the late 12th century standards. This roster is now complete with all standard armors, however, the list of special armors is still growing. This trend for historical accuracy will accompany the whole project, as it is a perfect tool to create unique, legally distinct looks to well-known characters. We implemented HDD SMP mechanics for Havoc physics, adding realistic cloth movement in the project. Animated capes, skirts, coats and dusters, anyone? We added more custom modern outfits for women in Modern Night streets, so as to provide for more variety and accuracy to climate. With new custom hair models, we can now better define individual characters and NPCs. Most works in exteriors this year were focused on perfecting Prague itself. Improvements to nav meshing and operation of doors and load screens allows for implementation of Coterie members. Besides that, we've managed to construct the exterior to Castle Prague and the seat of Rudolf Brandl. In addition, we are laying out first baby steps towards an architecturally distinct Vienna map. For Modern Knights, we've managed to create a new custom dungeon location, the New York Ironworks. Interior works have seen a bit more work. Besides the previously mentioned accommodation for Coterie members, we managed to construct the Boyle Club, one of London's Camarilla Elysiums. We also made the court of Prince Rudolf Brandl with plans to expand it with regular mortal ruler quarters. We improved several miscellaneous unnamed locations for future development with new elevator mechanics. Faced with the knowledge that Activision might reject our offer, the writing and voice acting teams stayed focused on finishing the NPCs that inhabit the environments. This has allowed us to continue making progress in delivering an overall feel that is not reminiscent of Skyrim without spending time on lines and/or quests that might not be viable. The lore team has been hard at work collaborating with the devs to mirror the challenges inherent to the core tabletop rules, which has resulted in an experience that is reflective of the vampiric condition in the World of Darkness. With the decision to remove any Activision IP, it was incumbent upon the lore team to identify Activision-owned content and mark it for removal and replacement. As already mentioned, the lore team has also been firm on the removal of Argot items from availability, except where extenuating circumstances prevail. As always, where we cannot mirror canon, we lean towards fun for the player. We continue to make casting calls to widen our voice acting talent base, and currently have voices from across the globe, which will hopefully grant us a higher level of authenticity when encountering NPCs. With the writers and voice actors creating content for the NPCs, including vendors and city guards, the environment is now ripe for new content to be written as needed against the backdrop of a blank slate with World of Darkness rules and flavor. The writing team is now actively working with lore, development, artists, musicians and voice actors to craft quests with an eye towards replacing Activision content in a way that stays true to the universe and its established characters. While we have several burgeoning ideas taking shape to add to the main storyline, we are running a start-to-finish quest production test to get a rough estimate of how long the project could take overall. This will be the first full segment we have built completely and will incorporate all that we have made and gathered thus far, including the option to play it through as a demo. This essentially concludes all the information on the progress we've done in 2024. But now for an equally important issue of what to do next. At this moment, we stand ready to start producing this plot, enter a full-time development, and start pumping out this game. We just have one question to answer. What kind of a game are we to make? With Activision's decision and our choice to reinterpret the original game comes an unexpected degree of freedom. Therefore, for independence from any agendas or developer preferences, we decided that you will decide what kind of a game we make. We've prepared 4 fundamental plans for reinterpretation of the game. Those plans will also try to cater for your preferences in the aforementioned opinion polls. I will briefly explain all 4 of those while you see their details on screen now. Plan 1 is a 100% content reinterpretation. It means we simply remove any Activision's non-canonical content and then patch the holes up with custom replaced content. This plan is as close as the project can get to the original game. Plan 2 is a 50% content reinterpretation. it means Acts 1 and 4 will be as per original game content, while the middle, Acts 2 and 3, will be custom material with even a new main character. Plan 3 is a 25% content homage. It means we only get to play Act 1 as homage to the original game, and the rest of the story is its own content with a new main character. 4 is a 100% completely new game. This means we only maintain the same spirit and plot theme of the original game, but we do a completely different game set in a completely different place with a completely different cast of characters. This plan is as far as the project can get from the original game. This is your time now. We leave this project's future in the hands of you, the fans. The official vote is on our Discord, link in the description below. This is the final grand vote. Comment, remark, message, email on any social media, even as a comment in this video on Twitter, on World of Darkness Facebook or Discord anywhere. We will find those votes and we will tally them up. Currently, the plan is to have, by Christmas 2024, the result of this grand vote, and for us to officially, finally, after having consulted both Paradox and Activision, but most importantly, with the will of the fans, begin the full, true development of this mod. It has been my pleasure to give you this report, and as always, see you again on the next one. See ya!